Hello, we are back on this human design. How does it feel series? The last episodes we were talking about undefined energy centers, right? Um, and how does that feel in a specific life, like in this case, mine? And today we're gonna start with the defined centers that I have. So, as a reminder, this series is filling up a gap when I started to study human design on more specificity on how certain things feel like when you have it on your human design. How does the energetic functions work in like applicable terms or like specific terms, because I wanted to understand better from the theory to the practice. And remember, if you want to share your experience with a specific energetic function, or um, we're gonna go also with the gates and like further down the road, just let me know and we can have a conversation about it. So today we're going with the Defined G-Center. And it really took me a moment to fully kind of understand this, how this manifests in my life. And so I'm excited to share with you. And it did take me like a journey actually to kind of get it. So not that I fully get it, but what I'm gonna share, I hope it helps you if you have a defined center. The first thing I want to say is that, in my experience, having a defined G center, in its best expression, has taken me almost 40 years to come to. Yeah, so like the way that, so if when you read your description, if you have a defined G center and you're like, that's not me, what I can tell you from my experience is that this is a lifetime of process, right? Because the G center is about direction and it's about love. And the biggest struggle I have had in my life is to love myself. Like, I have struggled with low self-esteem, difficulty accepting who I am, my uniqueness. And obviously, when you're in that place of low self-esteem, it's hard for you to love others, because you are working through all of these difficulties within yourself, and so you tend to project more into others, and like, it's just hard to fully be able to love and engage with others, right? So I think if I would have read this in my 20s, I would be like, this is absolutely not true of me. And I'm glad that it came to me later in my life so that I can understand it better. But I think if I would have seen it before, it would have given me hope as to what I'm becoming, right? Because this center, as I have experienced it myself, means that I have, and I'm not perfect, right? I'm a human, so this is not always, but more and more, I have this deep capacity to love others in a way that people look for me for that love, like for that warmth feeling. Like, I have people, even strangers, that come to me because they can perceive that I have this profound, deep love that pours out of me, and that it's like such a gift. I wish I could be there all the time. I'm not. But I absolutely have seen with time in my life how people have appreciated and gave me feedback about how they feel loved, accepted, and able to express themselves when they are around me. And that only means, in my case, that I have done a hell of a work of loving myself, accepting where I am, and I'm not fully done with that at all. Like, I will say I'm in the middle road, like I'm just in the middle of my journey of self-acceptance. And even with that, my G center, definitely I can see this aspect of being defined in that sense, right? So in the undefined centers, you are open to what is like the external coming to you, and it's hard to kind of like manage that, whereas in the defined centers, the thing is coming out of you to others, right? And so in this case, because it also has to do with purpose, I also think that it has allowed me with time, again, not that I was here in my 20s or even, some of my 30s, but have allowed you for people to come to you for guidance, which is something that I really more and more enjoy doing. And it's such a responsibility, right? Like even with my Akashic Records readings, my tarot readings, like trying to guide people, not telling them what to do, but like helping them to find their own resource, their own answers within themselves, right? And so, and it's interesting because it's not that I have super clear my purpose. Like I have really worked hard on like asking the universe to be more clear onto what is my purpose in this lifetime, right? But in a way, I do have certain clarity about things, and people, if you have this defined center, this might have happened to you. People come telling me that although I'm younger than them, that they can find solace and guidance in me. So I have a lot of friends that are way older than me, and I end up acting a little bit of as a guide, even though again I'm younger. So that has been really beautiful. Also very healing for myself and others to be able to offer that to people. But as I'm saying that, this is not something that I came easily to, and it's not something that I'm fully in. So, just know that it's a beautiful, beautiful disposition, and it takes a lot of work. So the other aspect of this Defined G-Center is that we tend to have a sense of self that is very unique. In that is not we're not meant to blend in. We will tend to be visibly different. And this is a double sword, of course. It is a source of loneliness, and it could have a lot of ego to it, which obviously I have had before and I struggle with. But then also the pure, let's say, part of this is that because your G center is defined, you know deep down who you are, and you're not like any other, perhaps, or like not the most common person. And again, the work here is like, okay, so how do I nurture my authentic self? Because the world is gonna tell you weirdo, the world is gonna try to make you conform. There is shame, there is rejection, it's so many things. And so, in my experience of this aspect of this center, it has been really like difficult to understand my own uniqueness, and then really forcefully defend it in any places that I'm in. So if I did my yoga training, Kundalini yoga training, and I was the only gender non-conforming person, the only trans person, the only, probably one of the few queer folks. So I was different, and I felt, you know, contention with everyone else in my family. I am the only queer and trans person that is out, at least, and I'm the only academic. And so there's so many aspects, right, of like, and even as a professor right now, my methodologies are different from everyone else's in certain ways. Again, there's nothing unique fully, right, in the world, but it tends to be like different. So how do you um defend that? How do you support yourself in that? How do you check yourself that you're not getting like being different just because you want to be different, but like really, really being yourself? And obviously, with such a strong personality, people will look up to you, or you would be able to inspire them to be themselves. So that definitely, I have a very strong personality, yeah, and I would not, you know, uh, I will always be contentious with things. It's just who I am. Maybe in a earlier time, I did that with sort of less skill emotionally, like kind of, you know, out of groundness. And now I'm trying to do it differently with love and care, but still acknowledging like that this is different, right? And there are other I think gates and other placements that speak also to the idea of being not conforming to things as they are, wanting to change things. So like that is like an addition to like this, right? So the shadow expression here has multiple aspects to it, and I definitely have experienced them all. I have been in shadow of this, most definitely, which is okay. You were learning. This is a journey. So one of the things that can be shadowy about the G Center defined is when you are trying to hold yourself back out of fear of rejection or like fear of not conforming. And even when I have been really fearful about who I am, I still think I have hold back a lot. So like if now I feel like I kind of am different, I think I'm not even on my 80% of what I am really. And the reason why is because I'm scared that my mom is gonna hate me. I'm scared of like, people are gonna not like me. Like as a spiritual person, for example, right now I'm entering into a phase of exploring more of my darkness and my moon, my subconscious, my which means that I won't be all like peace and love and like white clothes and shiny sparkling things, but maybe I will go more into the red and black and like kind of even like I'm thinking about clothing like I had a phase in my 20s when I was like always in black, super like kind of punk, and then I entered this like more hippie kind of style, and I've been there for a long time, and now it's calling me back to like my aesthetics that are more into like the night, right? The sacred night, the sacred darkness, where all of the mysteries are, and the part of me that is wild and the wolf. And I am scared of like being rejected, and I'm like very timidly leaning into that side of me. um and I don't know what's going to happen with that. So that's one thing that could be just minimizing yourself. The other thing is that and I think I've said this before, but not the fact that you can give good advice and that you can be kind of counselor and healer and like a guide doesn't mean that you always have to be that for people, especially if they haven't asked for that. It doesn't mean that there's always a right time for guidance. No, there is a specific moments where your authority and your everything is telling you to do it. And sometimes it's coming from other places where you want to control others, or you want to change others. And that is really a work of discernment, as we said last episode, of discernment of like what's going on. Am I called to be this leader right now, or am I not? And the one of the very important parts of this is that you cannot be a leader because you want followers. Or I mean, you can, but like you shouldn't, I guess. Or it's not. Listen, if that's what you want, it's good to explore that path. But what I'm saying is, there is a shadow side when you are leading and expecting from others to follow you or like adore you. And it really is interesting when you feel frustrated because people are not listening to you, because that is an indication that you're doing it for the wrong reasons, quote unquote, meaning you're not doing it as like a channel from source, or like a conduit for source, but maybe more because you want the attention, and because you have a strong personality, you will have it, and so you want to like continue having that attention. And that's something to look out in the shadow side of this, right? So the highest expression here, is just literally accepting others as they are. Like, I can help you if you need, and but I love you as you are right now. Like, I don't need to change you. I don't need to for you to be in awareness of X or Y or Z thing. To really let the other person, anyone that is in contact with you, to follow their own path. This is hard. This is really hard. I think Virgos are familiar with this feeling, because you see the person going on a cliff and you're like, and I see what you're doing and I don't know. Okay, just go. Right? And so accepting that, I think it's the expectations and all the control is really a goal, definitely a goal. And in that sense, I wrote a what I'm it's a poem, I guess, but it's like what I'm calling love mantra that I wanted also to offer to you because I'll be working on these things. And so the love mantra says, and it's on my socials if you want to read it. It says, I love you, but I don't demand anything from you. I love you with no expectations. I love you as you are today, yesterday, and tomorrow. I love you and I don't want to change you or fix you. I love you, but you don't have to love me back. My love for you opens a wound that needs nursing all along. My love for you touches the soft places that want to grow. I love you, but I don't need anything from you. I set you and me free. So this is obviously something that I'm trying to get at, right? Which is the mantra that I repeat myself when I see myself so much wanting to change other people. And you know, the second aspect of the highest expression would be, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say. So the second aspect of the highest expression that I'm gonna be the last thing I'm gonna share with you is to really be able to feel at ease, calm, and centered in that you know where you're going. Well, no, maybe not where you're going, but you know your path. Doesn't matter how the path unfolds, and it might have its hiccups and everything, but you really have this certainty of that you're going in the right direction, even with complications, difficulties, and etc. And that you have love in life, love for yourself and love for others, other people, animals, nature, like this kind of more expansive idea of love. That would be the highest expression of a defined G center. So I hope that if you have this defined G center, you have some of these things that you share with me. And I also hope that this helps you to process your own experience of having a defined G center, or if you have it undefined, that by contrast, you can also enrich from this. So thank you. We're gonna continue with the defined centers next, and so stay tuned. Bye.